I'm Santosh Verghese with your session on job skills. Today's session, we would be focusing on resume-based interview. So that would be the focus of this particular session. So we'll be running through this session to help you, in terms of what kind of a questions that you can expect and how you can, construct and structure and construct your sentences and speak really well in the interview. So that would be the focus of the resume. The first and foremost thing, when it comes to a resume-based interview, the first thing is that you need to understand deeper into the resume. Just don't make imprint on the resume without have a greater understanding on the resume. So that would be the first thing that you need to do it. So understand the resume, understand each and every points that you have put in your resume. At least 2-3 times you need to have a bigger understanding of what you have exactly presented in your resume. So that's the way to get a better understanding or a better learning of your resume. Without knowing your resume, you'll not be able to speak anything on the resume, because if when the questions are asked based on the resume, you need to be really prepared yourself up to speak well. So learn the resume really well, understand the resume well, and speak. So we'll be focusing this session on resume based questions, what kind of questions you can expect, and how you can really do well in the interview. So it says resume-based questions. So that's the objective of this session. So let's understand what is a resume-based questions that you can is being asked. What means the specifics? So for instance, these are the questions that will be purely related from your resume. It could be some technical questions. It could be non-technical questions that you have constructed in your resume. So that is the objective of what it is. Now, why it is being done is the interviewer wants to have an understanding. Do you really have the knowledge? Do you really have the skill? Do you really have the ability when it comes to that part of your skill, of your technical expertise or your technical skills that you possess? Do you have it in your arsenal? Do you have it in your repertoire to exhibit as a potential candidate for the organization? That's the reason a question is being asked from the resume. Now, the bigger question is, yes, I understood what a resume-based questions is, and I understood why it is being done. Now, the bigger understanding is how it can be done, which means that the steps that can involve yourself when it comes to doing well in the interview, or the process that can take you forward to do well in the interview, or the techniques that you can use it to do well in the interview. Now, as I said, the last thing is how can I do well when a resume-based question is asked? First and foremost thing is you need to prepare. Prepare is what they say, right? So you'll have to prepare well. So which means that ideally, to do well on the questions that's been asked by the interviewer, you need to have the preparatory work. You need to have the script, which means that you need to have the information to speak about to the interviewer. So preparation is very important. Second is, yes, you've done the preparatory work on the script, and then you need to practice. I'll tell you what, if you don't practice on the preparatory work that you have done, you will totally mess it up. Without proper preparation, you'll not be able to really, say things. So practice always will get you better. At one point of time, it may be getting you perfect. So that you'll have to do it. Next is about the presentation. I'll tell you what, even the greatest presenters in the world always take a lot of practice before they present. So take a lot of preparatory work, a lot of practice, and then present. So that's the way you got to do it. So it's based upon the 3 P's that you can do well in the resume. Preparation is about knowing the information and presenting it across to the interviewer. Now, next, which I said is prep up. Prep up is not just by saying that, which I said prepare. So how do I prepare is the next question. So first I would say is you should have knowledge on the concepts. For me, knowledge of the concepts is pertinent to your technical side. So you should have a greater knowledge of the technical concept that you're going to present. So you should have a greater knowledge of the concept that you're going to present to the interviewer. Without that, you will not be able to speak anything. So have a great knowledge about what you wanted to speak. So that is an important thing. Next is understanding the process. Be whether you're going to work as a testing engineer or also software developer, you need to understand the process of the testing, the process of your programming, including its sequence. So great. So you got your knowledge, you got the understanding of the process of the programming or on the testing side. Wonderful. Now, the third one is about the application of the concept. Yes, I have the knowledge, I have the understanding, but how do I apply myself? For instance, application of the knowledge is purely the wisdom. Can I really apply my knowledge in a real-time usage or in a real-time scenario? So that is being tested upon. Okay, now for instance, let me run through this sample question. Now, how I can speak on a technical question. Suppose that interviewer is asking a question saying that, talk me about your, software bug life cycle, right? So each one of us would have our own style of, presenting things. My way of doing would be say that, we would have to really structure up, to speak to the presenter. First, it would be like introduction. Second would be like details. Third would be like examples. And fourth would be the close. How can I make this? For instance, the interviewer is asking the question, speak about the software bug cycle. So let's give the introduction of the software bug cycle. A bug cycle is a path or a journey from its identification to its closure. So which means identifying the bug and then closing. That's the introduction. And the life cycle varies from organization to organization, and it's governed by software testing process. The organization or project follows the defect tracking tool. So that would be the introduction of a software bug life cycle. Wonderful. You have made the introduction. The interviewer wants to know, deeper about their introduction. You said that, it's the identification of the bug, then the closure of the bug. Wonderful. Now you're going to speak more about the details about what you said in your introductory part. Now, how do I do is, as suppose you are because software bug cycle, the bug cycle purely involves the testing people. The software tester tests the programs which is being coded by the software development team. He tries to run his defect detecting tool, and he finds the bug in the program. So what he does is, yes, he finds the bug and puts a status saying that new bug has been found. So what he does is, as a team member, his responsibility is that he need to put it across to his project lead. So the project lead gets this bug saying that it's a new bug that's been found in the program, and and he needs to understand. So what he does is, the software lead, what he does is he understands whether it is an authenticated bug. Is it a validated bug? Yes, if he finds that yes, it is an authenticated bug, it is a valid bug, yes, then he gives a consent saying that yes, there is a bug in the program and it has to be recoded. So what he does is he delegates the work to the software development team. One of the team member would take up the ownership to set the code back in its track. So that would be given to the software developer team. So the software development team member would ideally again recode the program and again send it back to the tester. The tester again tries to run through the program and saying that whether it is error free or not, because there was an error found and it has been initiated or it was been escalated to the to the project lead. Then from the project lead again it came to the software development team which developed the project, and then again it comes back to the tester. Then the tester again runs through the code of program and finds that whether it is error free. So once after this confirmation, once it is error free, yes, he puts a confirmation saying that this software is completely free of error. So these are the information that you can convey in your details when you're trying to put across the information. Now let's also talk about the examples. For instance, the software developer is a bit annoyed that what the code of program he's written is correct, and he gets saying that I need to understand exactly, more information where the bug went. He can reject it. For instance, he would say that sometimes he could say that, no, I won't fix or can't fix due to some reasons, So there he can reject that also. He can also say that can't reduce because it's unable to reproduce the defect. Or he can also say that I need more information on the bug that is being said. So understood how you can start with the introduction, how you can give the details about the software bug life cycle, how can incite the examples that you encounter when the software developer team, rejects your bug. The last thing is you will have to close up, right? Because every software has to be error-free because the client or the customer needs an error-free software. So that's the point of closing it, which says that yes, this project or this program is completely error-free and it is useful for the client or the customer. Right. So next thing is we need to, next the technical question can be asked, now what is your academic project that you have done? So when it comes to your academic project, you need to tell about the title of the project. What is the title of the project that you have done? So it gives a bigger clarity to the person saying that this is the title of my project. Then you'll have to describe the project. What is the description, illustration of the project in a way that most people can understand? What was your role in the project? For instance, were you a team leader or were you a team member? For instance, you can say I was a very proactive team member. I was a very proactive team leader. Now let's look about the next one, which is responsibility. Responsibility is always conditioned to do work. What was your responsibility? Were you part of the data gathering? Were you a part of data analysis? Were you a part of data interpretation? Were you part of test cases? Or these informations are your responsibilities that you take up as the ownership to do the work. Next is the technology that you used to do the project. What is the technology that you used to the project? The kind of knowledge that you used to do this project, and what are the tools that you used in this project? What are the objects that you used for this particular project? All right, so you said about the title, description, role, responsibility, technology. Wonderful. Now we talk about the challenges. For instance, you can say that the challenges that you encountered in your project. For instance, you can say that I have encountered a few challenges in my project wherein there was a lot of difficulties in terms of really getting the right course, the time that there was budgeted time and you needed to finish it on time, and you were racing against the time, but you could face those challenges and get the project on time. Okay, so those are the challenges that you can exhibit and say to the interviewer. Next is, what was your learning from the project? What did you really imbibe or assimilate from the project? What is your learning from the project? What did you understand? This was the project, and what is your bigger learning so that it can be used in your further projects? So that's the important in terms of your key learning. The next aspect is about the application. Yes, why I talk about the application? What will be the use of the project? For instance, if I'm going to say that I have developed an application, on mobile communication, I've used mobile communication technology, and this is the application where it can be used on any mobile devices. It says the use of the project, and it also I have to talk about the duration, which means that how much of time you have consumed to do the project. Did you take, how much time? Because were you able to really stick on to the timeline to finish the project? So when it comes to this academy project, always talk in a very structured way, saying that title, description, the role, the responsibilities. Responsibility is more about the actions that you enacted in the project. What was the technology you used it? What are the tools that you used it? And what are the challenges that you encountered while doing this project? And what was the key learning points from this or takeaway messages from this project? And what is the application that can be used from this project? And what is the time duration that you took? Did you take overtime, or did you really take under time to finish the project? So this is a way to really structure up to speak about your academic project. It exhibits a lot of professionalism. As a person who is an entrant, which means ideally as a fresher into the organization, when you can structure up and speak it shows that there is a lot of professionalism in way you say it, the way you present it. Lots of, rather than just going about like in like a high speed express, it doesn't show any professionalism. It shows that you have completely memorized the information and trying to put it across to the interview. That's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is always to go in the structured way, which I have already exhibited. So I think you guys would have got an idea about how you need to present your technical expertise. As I said, when a technical question is being asked, always try to structure it well by saying the introduction, by saying the details, by saying the examples, and then closing up, which says that there is a methodical way of presenting your information across to the interview. When I also said about the academic project, how you can really present well, right? So we'll have to really get to those structures, saying about the title of the project, what was your role in the project, what is the responsibilities in the project, what was the duration that you took it. It shows lots of professionalism as a person to the interview. So that's the learning from this. So apart from this, a resume based question, you can also be asked questions, yes, I understood. This is your technical summary or your technical expertise that you have persists. Wonderful. But I need to understand, bigger informations, what are the kind of achievements, you have got. And understand the word, what are the achievements? For instance, what have you achieved? And achievements or the awards that you got. Achievements can be like, I have, something like beyond your, curriculum of studies. It could be, something, related to painting, or something related to running competition. Though it is not very much pertinent, it exhibits that you're a guy who has that ability beyond your technical expertise, right? So that can be said. But if you're going to say that I'm good at good in movie acting, that doesn't showcase your skill, because that is not pertinent to the world. So that will not really help you in terms of that the job aspect. So it's always nice to connect when it comes to that interview perspective. For instance, I led a cricket team in my college, so which says that you are a leader. So that leadership quality that you are trying to put it across to the interviewer, he does see that this guy is a guy who's got that leadership quality, and definitely I'll say that he takes a look at you. So that is an achievement, because achievement is something that you've got. Please understand the difference between achievement and participation. Participation is merely just being a part of it. You can be a mute spectator or just being involved in it. Achievement is something that you attained, something that you achieved and got as a reward. So that should be exhibited as an achievement. So that can be spoken about it. One second. So that's a way to talk about things. When another question is, suppose because you should understand the resume based questions is basically on to understand whether you're the right fit for the organization, because the company has a requirement and you have an objective. Does it go hand in hand? Which means that ideally, does it match together? If it doesn't match together, you are not a potential candidate for the organization. The company has a requirement and you have a career objective. And if it matches, yes, you are a potential candidate for the organization. But having said that, do you really possess those skills? Do you possess those knowledge and wisdom to work for the organization and get his work done? So that's the a thing that you should be looking at the resume. First and foremost, as I said before, please have a bigger understanding of your resume. When somebody says, talk me through your resume, walk me through your resume, please run through your resume. It's as simple as saying that talk about your resume in terms of your educational profile, in terms of your technical skills that you possess, in terms of your academic skills, in terms of academic projects that you did it, and what kind of things that you have done, the most of the responsibilities that you've taken up, the other things that you can. So you can also talk about, the other aspects, like, soft skills, that, where, you are good about, communicating with people, you are good in, people coordination. So these are the things that you can speak about when it comes to your resume based, instructions. I hope that, a few things that you have learned about this resume based, questions pertinent to your career. Again, I'm saying, get a greater understanding of your academic project, because people want to know that have you really done the project. Because most of the places where I have seen that people have not done the project, they have just others project has become their project, which means that they have never been a part of the project. So get a greater understanding of a project that you have done. It's very important for you to know the project that you have done, and to know really the technology you have used it, the tools that you have used it, and what was your responsibilities. The best thing to always say is to get a deeper understanding, get some research work on the project, so that you have higher knowledge on the project. Just to have the lesser knowledge will not suffice your need, nor the interviewers need. So best thing is always to research on these information, so that you have a long understanding on the project that you have done, because academic project will be asked, and you have no other option but to speak in a way that would really impress the interviewer. I hope that you guys learned how an academic project can be exhibited or showcased to people. Another way of talking about your academic project also can be, like, for instance, you can use the the other aspect, let's call it the share model, where you can talk about what is the share model is SHARE, which means that state the main point of your message. So that would be the first thing. Next is the highlight the important points in the message. R is assure the receiver's understanding. That's important. The fourth one is R is about respond to your interview. E is about emphasize and summarize, which means that ideally talking about the entire thing. You can always use the first thing also, which I said, the talking about introduction, details, examples, and closing. And also you can use the share model if you want to use it, which you find it easier to do it. You can always pick up that and do it. Thanks for watching this particular video on resume based question. I hope that there was a learning into it, how you can speak about your technical questions pertinent to your career, and make yourself better equipped with your career and with the job, so that you can do better in terms of your interview. Thanks for taking out time to watch this particular video, and see you again. Bye bye.